Hey, aloha, love tribe. How are you today? I'm doing a last minute uh, live stream. It's, of course, I don't script anything. I have questions, of course, when I talk to my guests. Sometimes, if I'm doing my own solo episodes, I'll kind of outline some things that I want to go over. Um, the things I want to go over today really are about love, of course, which is my name. And it's the most important thing I think in the world that we can do and be and give. Um, but being love is the most important thing that I think we can do. And I changed my name to Valerie Be Love after my divorce, 8-ish years ago. Is it 8 years? Almost 8 years ago, I guess. Um, and, because I was like, what am I supposed to do? What's my mission? Am I supposed to, you know, do peace? Am I supposed to give love? Am I supposed to, do the music and all that? And it occurred to me, Ram Dass is my favorite teacher. He's my first spiritual teacher up there. And, he talks about, of course, being here now, right? And being present and just being. And and then he wrote a follow-up book called Be Love Now. And I think it was, I want to say like at least 15 years later. It's quite a while later, and he did his whole journey and all that. And so, I think like for me, the essence of life is to be, and it's not to do. Am I a human doing or am I a human being? Right. And so I'm like, I'm a human being. And so being here now and being love now is the most important thing. And, we get off track a lot. I know I've gotten off track a lot in my career as being a human. And so, you know, I went through a recent breakup and it took a long time to get through this breakup. And this breakup was up and down. Is it happening? Is it not happening? Da, da, da. And it's finally like, it's over, and I'm feeling like less anxious about it. I don't think about it as much. I'm moving forward. And, always, I analyze what the fuck just happened after I make mistakes in my life. And of course, there's blessings and there's beauty and, things that you can bring forward, obviously, lessons in everything that we do, right? Like life is here as this big, giant school, it's a playground, a sandbox, a schoolyard. And, what is my own spiritual curriculum versus yours, right? And so, um, you know, I I went through this process of analyzing like why would I bring someone into my life that isn't available in a way that I want to be with them? Why would I choose somebody who's not really working on themselves in the way that I have and always will be? And why did I settle? Like I settled. And um even though there were lots of really yummy, delicious parts, oh, so good, right? Um, the overall feeling was one of loneliness in this relationship that I just ended, and because I knew I was abandoning my true love, which is me and God, and I allowed this relationship, and I take full responsibility. I don't blame anybody. Obviously things happen, people do things, so that's their responsibility. But I chose to move forward in a way that was out of alignment and out of my code. And, I'm working on this 11x Love project. I put it on the shelf last year because I was in the middle of this relationship that was completely out of alignment with who I am and where I want to be and what I want to be doing. And I stopped it. And I know that subconsciously I stopped it because I was like, I can't go forward with a project like this because I am a liar right now and I am allowing toxicity in my life. And it's really hurting me. And so how can I go forward and, be a cheerleader for you and everybody else, and of course myself, if I am living out of alignment with this code? And so, after my divorce, I went through a lot of, breakdown, breakthrough, um, and really, really falling apart and feeling like, oh my God, I'm going to die. If you guys go to hold on, let's go to the captions. Where are we? I don't have the glasses on. Yeah, we're the Snap Goes to Humans series. If you go to the website, djvaleriebelove.com/snap, you can see a little video I made last week. And it'll tell you about this project. And this project came to me after just a fucking shit show. We're talking like the shittiest of poop show everywhere, splattered. um, but I promised God that I was going to do this, and I use the word God now. I never used to say the word God. It was just like, no. I would say universe, spirit, whatever. And after this whole experience, just that the vibration of the word God works for me now. And so I'm not religious. It's not God in any religious format. It's God as the universal love force that's created everything. And so whatever stories you use to talk about your God, like just know that my God is the same as yours. But I just say God. Anyway, but I promised God, I said, God, I'm going to tell my story. I'm going to, try to get, be a beacon of light, hopefully, for people to rebuild their lives after shit hits the fan and things fall apart. But I keep making mistakes. I keep fucking up, and, I relapsed with alcohol 4 years or 5 years ago. Right. It was 2019. Yeah. It was the year before COVID. And so it's like, I know that I'm on my path, but I made these mistakes, right? So I let these toxic substances in my life. And, I think with anything, if you have moderation, it's fine, right? But, at that point in my life, I did not have any moderation. I was numbing myself and trying to heal from some pain, some trauma. And so trauma is a weird one. And so this is where the toxic, love versus true love comes up. I always thought trauma up until, this whole shit show happened 8 years ago. I always thought trauma was something that happened to military vets. I always thought it was something that happened to first responders, or, if you were beaten up by somebody, or if you were, sexually assaulted. It turns out I was. And so it turns out I have a lot of trauma. So I guess I don't know. I just thought you could just kind of push it under the rug and say, I'm fine. I did some work. I went to a therapist. I did, mushrooms. I meditated. I wrote in my journal. I'm good. I'm cleaned up. Yep. I'm great. I went to rehab. I'm awesome. Great. It turns out that's not how the shit works. It's layer after layer after layer after layer after programs, after codes, after conditions that, have created who we are, how we think, what we believe in, what we stand for, what we don't. And they're our operating system. And most of it lives in the subconscious. And so what we don't understand, I've been doing a lot of hypnotherapy lately, which has been really cool and powerful. And I go in and out of deep work with my therapy. Sometimes I'll do lots of EMDR. Sometimes I'll do the hypnotherapy. Sometimes I do a lot of CBT, cognitive behavioral therapy, more talk type stuff. Sometimes I'll do just nature. Sometimes I'm just like, fuck it. I don't want to do any of that stuff. I need to go make some music and journal. And so there's no like, oh, this is what you're going to do all the time. I mean, think about your workout routines, right? If you did the same, like I'm just doing biceps every day, like you're not going to get a holistic healing experience, and you're not going to get a holistic like workout for your whole body. And so I look at therapy and coaching as that. You have to get in, you have to have a holistic practice, you have to have holistic approaches. There is no one size fits all. What works for you may not even come close to working for me, and vice versa. But so, it all boils down again to that being love. And for me, being love, what does that mean? What does it mean for you to be love? Does it mean, brushing your teeth in the morning? Does it mean putting food in your mouth that is healthy? Does it mean listening to beautiful music? Does it mean, choosing a mission and a career that's, pulling upon your ikigai, that's pulling upon your passion and your purpose and your skill set, and providing value for the world? So it's so important that we understand what our version of self-love is and what our version of being love is. Is it forgiveness? That's a huge one, right? When somebody's wronged you, can you forgive them and just still love them but you don't need to ever let them back into your life, but you can still love them. Same thing for yourself. Like, I find that self-forgiveness is harder than any other kind of forgiveness. Um, we have a microphone and a speaker that's going on in our head 24/7. There's always someone talking, and then there's always something listening. And so we know every little thing that we've done. We know every little fuck up and infraction that we've ever done. And so there's that inner critic. They talk about internal family systems, IFS, and you've got an inner critic that is constantly trying to make you become a better version of yourself, but they're kind of dickheads about it sometimes, that voice. And so why do we let that voice speak so negatively and ruthlessly and viciously to us, where we talk to our plants and our dog and the neighbor's kid with such sweetness all the time? Why don't we give ourselves that same sweetness? It's because we've seen everything. We've seen all the lies. We've seen all the missteps, all the selfishness, all the manipulation, the greed, all the fear, all the everything that we've done and how we've chosen to show up in the world. Um, and so it's hard to let ourselves off the hook, and it's hard to truly be forgiving. And the reality of us as humans is, at any given point in time, any given point, all the inside parts and pieces of us, the lover, the friend, the warrior, the protector, the artist, the controller, the service oriented person, the businesswoman, we're all doing the very, very best we can at that moment with what we have up until that point. And so if our very best is kind of sucky, then because we can compare it to where we were before, we'd be like, dude, you suck, you should be over here. And so there's all the other variables too that are causing us to maybe not operate in our highest and best self and our highest and best good. It could be we're under resourced. We haven't slept. We haven't eaten. We've talked to the wrong people. We looked at social media. We read a fucking horrible article that blew our head up. So we're not resourced sometimes. And so we're the first to beat ourselves up and self-flagellate and self-deprecate. And it's so dangerous and toxic. And so until we can get a hold of, this is going to be so cool. You guys are going to love this. I'm just writing it down so I don't forget. Until we can get a hold of that voice and that microphone and really give it to the heart and give it to love and give it to God, give it to spirit, the ego and the control center and the inner critic are constantly going to be battling for it and trying to turn the volume up on their voices. And so, so I think it's such an important thing for me, and it saved my life, to have a healthy daily practice and to have people around me who are not toxic, who are true, and who've got my back no matter what, and will never, ever, ever give up on me no matter what. And they will call me out on my bullshit. So y'all know who you are, and I love you. And I hope that you feel the same way about me in your life, and as a friend and as a sister and as a fellow Bitcoiner and as a fellow love warrior. But let's go back to toxic love versus true love. Why choose someone who's going to hurt you, who is not on your code? Why do we do that to ourselves? Are we scared? Do we feel like we're not going to get another chance? Do we feel like this is as good as it gets? Do we feel like, oh, but there's all these good things, but then you've got this giant bag of sludge over here that's going to hurt you, and you know it and you see it, but you still go and you go and enjoy the little in the moment pleasures of being with a person who's toxic for you. Yeah, that's me. I did that. I've done it many times, and becoming a Bitcoiner has helped me learn about time preference. Yesterday, I had a wonderful, wonderful interview with Jason Sellers, and he went through a lot of different situations that are similar to mine, but one of the things that he appreciates, and so do I, and I think a lot of us Bitcoiners do, is we learn about. Sorry, I got a hair in my face. We learn about time preference, and so in this society and culture of now, give me the quick fix. I want to make $1,000,000 tomorrow in crypto. I want to, give me the fat loss pill. I'm going to get skinny in 2 days. Give me one quickie little course, and all of a sudden I'm going to be a genius. And I can speak another language in 40 seconds. Like, we're obviously on that track, crazy, because we're going to get all these. I'm not doing an implant, but 100 years from now, everyone's going to be, cyborgs. because that'll be the competitive advantage. We can go on that another day. But anyway, you know, the time preference of now, I want to be satiated now. I want to feel it now. Give it to me, baby. Give me more. I want it. Is ingrained in us every day, literally thousands of times a day. We're getting messages everywhere. You're not good enough. You're not skinny enough. You're not pretty enough. You don't have enough money. You're not around with the right people. You don't have the right job. Your car sucks, da, 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 da. Like constant barrage of not enoughness, and then we start comparing ourselves to all the shit that we see. And then we think, yeah, maybe they're right. I'm not enough. I suck. And so I think it's super important that we start to get more disciplined with our content consumption, and I'm guilty. I get velcroed into the fear cycle and all of this and the doomsday things. But I do believe we do have a crisis in this world, and it's a crisis of love, and it's a crisis of being love and the fear, and unfortunately, these powers that be want to control us and manipulate us and extract everything that they can from us, all the while leaving us with just enough so that we can produce so they can keep extracting. So fuck off, guys. Anyway, I told you it was a Friday afternoon rant. It was really musings, I think I put in the title. So the toxicity, why do we accept toxicity into our lives? Why do we accept the less than? Why do we accept the settling? Why do we accept something that we know is going to hurt us? It's that we're getting, our brain chemistries are getting manipulated and controlled for that instant hit. And so we're more inclined to do things and take things into our life that are giving that to us. They're giving us these dopamine hits, these quick little hits of oxytocin and serotonin, and we're being hijacked with the content and social media and whatnot. And it's impacting how we're making bigger life decisions with like who we're letting into our lives, etc., what food we're putting into our mouths or any of it, right? Same thing with porn. You look at porn. I like porn. I do. I do. I think some porn is fucking cool. But if that's all you're using and you're just using it for a quick get off, like you're losing the sweetness of love and even making love to yourself, like a lot of times people just do it really quick. Let's get it out of the way. Boom, I'm done. Let's get on with the next thing. And it's kind of like we forget to take ourselves on self-pleasure dates. We forget to enjoy our bodies and our love and our sensuality and our sacred sexuality and this energy, And so I've done some episodes before in the past about sacred orgasms and manifesting with orgasms. I'll do that in the future. But we're in such a hurry to get on to the next thing. More, consume. What's next? And not being present, And so it has really, really fucked us up. It's hijacked our ability to be in more true relationships with ourselves, with the moment, with nature, with each other, with the work, with the dancing, with the music, with the creation of what we're doing on this beautiful planet, right? With the conversations that we have. So sometimes we're in this like hurry to like, don't even listen, but all you want to do is talk, and get your blah. And so how do we get into a presence practice? How do we get into the moment on a regular basis and then reclaim our sovereignty over all of those chemicals and all of the electricity and the energy that is pulsing through us? So rather than being a slave to all of these things on the outside, how do we get to be the master, the ruler, the king, the queen, the god, the goddess? It takes practice. It takes a yes. And so I got out of my practice, and I allowed myself to be in a toxic relationship that I knew was hurting me every day. I knew it was making me feel lonely every day. I knew it wasn't going in the direction of my highest good. And I tried to end it several times, but I was like told, oh, no, it's going to change and all these things. And I wanted to believe, but it wasn't true. The truth wasn't there, and that's okay. And I felt it. I knew it in my heart. I felt it in my gut that something wasn't right. But I went against that inner voice, that inner truth, because my outerness wanted all the things to feel the way that they felt. And And so I abandoned myself. I abandoned my truth. I abandoned my code. Um, and I'm going to keep at it. I'm going to keep practicing, and I'm going to keep practicing being a better filter of who, what, where I let into my life, into my mouth, into my heart, into my mind, into my eyes, into my ears, and so I need to be a much more conscious consumer of everything. And I think I wrote in the description about, you're the sum of the five. They say that you're the sum of the five people you spend the most time with, and remember, you're the first person that you spend the most time with 24/7. You can't get away. Um, but, really, really being conscious of who are we surrounding ourselves with, and are their values aligned? Are their visions aligned for the future? Do they handle conflict in a way that is aligned with how you handle conflict? And um, so it is of the utmost importance that we, as love warriors, as Bitcoiners, as activists, as builders, as people who want to usher in the new world for all of us to enjoy, and certainly for all the generations to come, if we can't get right on a daily basis with what is coming into us, what we're allowing in, you know, um, they say if you don't stand for something, you're going to fall for everything, and if we don't stand up for ourselves first and foremost, we're going to fall for all the flattery and the sweetness and all the things that, give our little egos a pat on the side, of the back. But we have to be discerning and learn to see through the bullshit if we want to have freedom, if we want to have purpose, if we want to have power and strength, because I lost so many months of my life because of the depression and the anxiety and the fear that I went through in this relationship. And again, I take full responsibility for myself, and it sucked, and I knew, like, I was not in a good spot, and it was dangerous. It was really bad. And I'm like, Val, you know better. You know your truth. Why did you do this? And so instead, not, I didn't beat myself up about it, but it was just, you want something to be something that it's not. And sometimes we have to just accept things for what they are, and move forward in our lives, uh, and the minute that we can trust and allow and receive and appreciate Tara, green Tara is one of the guides and goddesses that I work with. And I think of Tara: trust, allow, receive, appreciate. And so when I'm trusting and allowing God's life and love to be my beacon, everything's okay. But when I'm trying to do it with my ego and I'm trying to run the show and be in control, fuck, I suck so bad. So this morning when I was meditating, um, first of all, I'll take a step back. I've been going through the hypnotherapy. Okay. And so I don't know if any of you guys have ever done hypnotherapy. You're not clucking like a chicken in front of a bunch of people. Yeah, I think they can do that, but that's not what my girl's doing. So thank God. um, we went through this, thing with alcohol for me, because I had some alcohol at Nashville in the summer, and uh, my mind was going back, like, oh, should I drink again? And I started dating, and I'm like, oh, should I be drinking? It's like, no, Val, the alcohol's, you went through there. That's not your jam. But still, my mind, there's a voice inside my head that was more of like the fuck it. Don't tell me what to do, Val. Like, I can do anything I want. I'm fine. And so we dove into her, and we kind of split her up into some different parts, and really trying to understand what's her motivation. Like, why does she have that, that voice? And, it's really just about, relaxing, getting in, not feeling FOMO and all this stuff from the old days, of, obviously I'm a DJ, I fucking party my balls off, I don't have balls, but you know what I mean? It's your old habits of, like, oh, I'm going to be at a party, or I have to be on a date or whatever, I have to have that social lubricant. No, you don't. It doesn't make me who I am. Like, who I am is a much better version of myself when I'm not, excessively drinking, and So we dissected everything, and it was just basically like, she just wants me to chill. And so, of course, what are my other methodologies for chilling? And so we're going through all this. So, of course, I'm going to be, continuing to always fortify and work on that. But, so got out of the session, but I still felt like something's missing, like something wasn't, I feel like I didn't address the issue, like fuck it, Val. And, because I think of her as like my teenage rebel. Don't tell me what to do. You're not the boss of me. Yeah, and um, so I was like, what is it? Um, and then I was thinking about control. And last night I read a post from a doctor on Twitter somewhere, and he was talking about trauma. And he's like, people who've been traumatized, especially sexual trauma, um, really are not, our executive function gets messed up, especially if we were traumatized at a young age, which I was, and as a teenager as well. Um, our executive function doesn't develop the way that other people's executive function works. And so we're in this kind of like pushing away, escaping. How do we disassociate with life? Because that was a coping mechanism that we had. And so it occurred to me, like a lot of my procrastination or fuck you or whatever it is that is just kind of pushing away the responsibility of being an adult, the adulting. Um, as I was meditating this morning and I was going through the different parts with Rebel Val and of course all my guides and everything, the word control kept popping up. And I was just like, oh, how do I get in right relationship with control? How do I get into that wise, white haired, you know, sage, white witch kind of woman goddess who's got a lot of wisdom, and who I want to be the microphone holder of my life. You know what I mean? And so as I was sitting there, like when I get in meditation and when I work with guides and angels and guardians, and when I started working with these uh, these parts of me, the protector and the instead of being hyper vigilant, because that's what we get when we're traumatized and we've gone through hell, we have this hyper vigilant like bulldog that's always ready to attack. And that's how I've had my system wired for so long. We went through a process and we got hyper vigilance to just get down to vigilance. And we created these like cyber screens so we could be watching for stuff. So it's like, you don't have to be this giant bully all ready, to pounce. So I went through this process with all of these, with presence, with patience, with protection, with vigilance, with safety and security. And then the control part was still there. I'm like, fuck, how do I deal with this control part, And then after reading that thing from the doctor, it felt good. So all of a sudden, mission control showed up in the meditation. And so I thought like, okay, we've got vigilance over here. That's my security guard paying attention, and then I've got mission control over here. And I'm like, what's mission control instead of just control? And that just something shifted. My whole body got like calm and it got goosebumps, and I was like, fuck yeah, mission control. So how can I get in relationship with this energy of mission control that lives within me and not have it turn into uh, the toxic version of itself, which is over control and gripping, and then the fuck you rebel Val. And so it was just such a fun feeling. And so I was thinking like, what's mission control look like for me? And of course I like screens and I like all the visuals and all the neat stuff. And then I think about like mission control is responsible for my vision, my vision as a love warrior, as a goddess, as Valerie. Like, what's the lasting legacy that I want to leave on this earth? And so I'm assigning this mission control entity, voice, whatever, to think, in terms of like when I'm making all my choices, whether it's a relationship, whether it's a job, a client, whether it's, food or alcohol, drugs, sex, porn, whatever the fuck I'm putting in my mouth or my ears, all that. How is this serving the vision that I want to create, which is a peaceful, harmonious planet for my children, for your children, for everyone's children, for generations to come and come and come. Come, baby, baby, come, come. Sorry, I had to do that. So, um, but so mission control, I've assigned it some tasks, that it's like anytime I'm making choices, it's kind of like, okay, Is this leading us toward love? Is this leading us toward God? Is this leading me closer to being love, which is my true love? And so I am the true love. I am the true love. And in my relationship and my divine connection with God is the true love. And so all the other stuff is beautiful. My family is love, right? And my intimate relationship that I'm in is love, and my love for Mother Earth, my love for my friends, my love for Bitcoin, and my mission and music and art and creativity and entrepreneurship. Oh, I love being an entrepreneur. I'm not the best one, but I love it because it's a puzzle, and it's all a fucking puzzle, right? Um, and so it's just a neat revelation that I wanted to share with you guys. And I know I'm yammering on for half an hour, and I just wanted to get this out of my heart and into yours, hopefully. And I would invite you to share your stories with me and tell me, like, have you gone through toxic love? Have you gone through toxic substances? Have you gone through times in your life where you thought, like, oh my gosh, I can't stop doing this thing. Why am I continuing to do this? Even though I know it's not leaving me full, and I think I wrote on the little, what do you call it? The thumbnail, it's like toxic love versus true love. One can kill you and one can fill you. And, I want the one that fills me infinitely and not the one that can kill me. And so that's something, for us to think about on Fuck Yeah Friday. And I love you guys so much, and thanks for tuning in. I see we've got some nice listeners and viewers right now. Say hey, send me a letter, subscribe. You guys go in and get in the Love Warrior newsletter. I'm still in the process of getting it so I can get it out to y'all on a regular basis. But it's just a humble newsletter of where I get to share my tips and tricks and music and the podcast and everything. So, check it out. But I want you to know about this project, of this stories. And so go to the website, and there's a video that I made, and you can check it out if you're interested, or if you know somebody who's got a story to tell. And so I think we all have a story to tell. Every single human. Imagine a collective of all of our stories, pieces of wisdom of before, during, and after a crisis, before, during, and after a snap, a breakdown, and I think it's so healing to share our stories with each other. And this project is going to be done anonymously because I want to protect your privacy. Sometimes when people share stories, there's children involved, there's another person involved, maybe you don't want your boss to know what happened, whatever it might be. So there's no shame in that, but it's more for protections purposes. It's not about you're a bad person, and it's really to protect you and those of you around you. And so but I'm going to start collecting these stories, and I want to share them, put them in book format, put them on the podcast, read them, do different ways of talking about how we got through hell, basically, and hell can come to anyone's doorstep. I call it snapping. And every living creature has a snapping point, a breaking point, including you, including me. And the more that we can normalize our vulnerability, which is actually a form of strength, the more that people can raise their hand and get the permission slips that they need to go get help and to go get support and to go get the care that they need, And so, especially, I think the people who are at high risk for the snapping turning into something really, really worse than it could be, or needs to be, are people who are powerful, people who are in positions of authority, people who are strong, people who are, in roles that you typically wouldn't think, like, oh my gosh, what do you mean you snapped? Yeah, fuck yeah, you're a CEO. You got a lot of pressure. You're a mom. Oh my gosh, you got a lot of pressure. You're a firefighter. You're a teacher. You're an entrepreneur. You're a student. Students are under so much pressure right now, and we don't give them enough breathing room. All the overscheduling, and oh, you've got to do the test, and you've got to do this, and stay up till midnight to study, and now you got to do an SAT, and now you got to go to your fucking game, and you got to do all these things. And so it's like our young people are more stressed out than ever, and they are definitely at risk to snap. Hi, Lauren. And so I feel like it's really, really important that we pay attention to that. Hi, sweetheart. And give them opportunities to just get a release valve and tell their stories, for all of us. And so I'd love it if you guys could check out, go to the site, go submit your story. If you don't have one, that's okay. Share this with your friends and give it to them. And hopefully we can change the world one story at a time. And hopefully that we can really learn to tune into our own true love, which is here. And everything starts here. And when we can be right here, then we can go be the best servants and the best lovers and the best mothers and the best fathers and the best children and the best executives and the best gardeners, and the best plumbers, everybody, right? And we can make the world the dream that I think we all have in our hearts. And so I'm going to end this right now, but I want to do a little prayer, and just a little prayer for love and for peace and for you listening. I think it's super important to thank you, Lauren. Oh, you're so sweet, honey. I love you, brother. If you're listening to this right now, take a breath with me and just drop into into yourself, into your breathing. The one thing that we carry with us all the time that is such a powerful regulator is our breath. It's such a powerful tool. And when we can remember to just take a moment and inhale love, and exhale peace, and inhale love. Fill it up, fill your soul and your being up with love. And exhale peace out to the world. One more time. Inhale love. Fill it up. You deserve it. You're worth it. You are it. And exhale peace out to the world. Congratulations. God bless you guys. I love you. And I appreciate you. I appreciate all the work that you're doing. I appreciate all the love that you're giving. Don't give up. I know it feels sometimes like you want to just give up and throw in the towel and say, fuck it. Been there more than once. The world needs you. The world needs your love. The world needs your light. You need you. So let's rock. Let's be love warriors and have a great rest of your day and evening or whatever you're all up to. I'm so excited. Tomorrow I'm going to go see my buddy Tom and do a whole cool sound healing thing at his retreat center. And this is going to be magic. So I can't wait. Can't wait to see you, Tom. And we're going to have a great time. And thanks for tuning in. And I'll talk to you guys soon. Okay. Peace, love, and warm aloha. Ciao.